Okay.
Perfect. Hey. I'm driving. I don't know what the hell is wrong with my phone. I'm like, oh, because I was going to sit outside and do it. It was more quiet. And I'm like, okay, that's what it is.
Like, all right, real quick. All right, you guys, come in. I'm sorry we're late. You guys, we had some technical difficulties, but we are here now. We are coming. So, oh, there's a little echo, but it's okay. It's all right, you guys. Okay. So hey guys, say hey as you come in. Welcome to episode 61. All right, I want to know how you guys are feeling. Where you're coming from? Who is tuning in? I'm really excited because and is it Mariah or Maria? So I say this right.
Maria. Yeah. Okay. Maria.
So I read your story. I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait. I'm so excited. But before we get into it, you guys, again, as you guys come in, say, hey, make sure you guys join in on the conversation, ask questions, get involved. I always want you guys to be as involved as possible because this is all for you guys. I think everybody's story has merit, has value. So feel free to dive in. And as always, if you find value from this and if you love this show as much as I do, make sure you guys click share. Make sure you click reminder so you don't miss any more episodes coming forward. If you click get reminder, it's going to tell you about every show that comes up and you will get notified. So yay for that.
Yay.
I know, and I'll get to bring more awesome women to you. So, but before we do that, I'm going to drop into this epic intro and we're going to get this thing going, okay? That's how it feels.
Yes. The universe, stay with us.
Right, it's gonna be good. Good vibes, you guys. So hello and welcome to the TUF Woman Table, episode 61, you guys, which means we are only 39 episodes away from episode 100, you guys. So that is like a huge.
Woo-hoo! Congratulations, girl.
Oh my God,
awesome.
39 episodes seems like a lot, but it's really not. So. Oh my gosh. So this is the table where I invite some super badass TUF women like Maria here to take a seat and join in on the conversation and share her amazing story. And you guys, hers is awesome. Like I get to read little tidbits of everybody's story, like key points. And so it's always interesting to see how everybody's story has similarities and differences at the same time. And like what extremes everybody has gone through in their life. So I am ready to hear this. But at TUF Woman, I believe that all women have the power within themselves to live life authentically, free from fear, confident in who they are, and empowered to go out and get whatever success looks like to them. I always say whatever lights your soul on fire, that's what you should be doing, okay? So I share this belief by championing tough women who have walked through the fire, felt fear, faced adversity, and kept pushing through it all. So women who now live the life they want as the woman they were created to be, and women who own and share their stories so that other women can own and share theirs as well. Because as you guys know, as I always say, when you give yourself permission to share your story, you give someone else permission as well. So without further ado, and finally we make it here to the episode. I would like to introduce you guys to my guest, business and mindset mentor. It's funny because your story is so very eerily similar, like has so many similarities. And that's why I love this platform. Cause it's like, oh my God, somebody else understands. Somebody so yes, I'll tell everybody a little bit about who you are. What do you do as a business and mindset mentor? What are you doing currently? And who do you serve?
Ashley, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me here. I can tell now why you're the queen of doing live. It comes so naturally to you, and I love it. I know so many women are petrified of doing this, and I say the more you practice, the easier it comes, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And then you start, it's just one of those things that you're like, yeah, I want to do more of it. Love it.
It's just getting over that voice in our head that tells us like, oh my God, you're gonna look stupid, or oh my God, what are people? It's like really just getting past that and going, okay, you know what? It's all good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Exactly. And it's all about the content, what you're giving out there. And as long as you're authentic and you're sharing from your heart, that's all that matters, though. You can give a shit how you look like sometimes, because sometimes we don't look our best, but we still want to go out and give our content. And here we are. So that's all it is. So I'm Tom. I'll start telling you a little bit of you. It's interesting how you say it. It's like, oh, we have similarities. I think Sometimes we think the things that happen to us, it only happens to us. And then we start sharing with other people and we're like, oh shit, hi soul sister, that happened to you too, you know? So, and it's mad. It's like some women that you will never ever imagine in a million years that will go through something like you did, you know, because you got so many different backgrounds, a different upbringing, different cultures, different ages, everything. And then you start talking to them and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this thing happened to you too. So it's good to share. It's good to share stories, and you know, that way you get to know each other and you get to see that you're not by yourself though. So so I'll get a little shorter. So where do I start? Actually, how did I start it with you? Okay, so mindset and business mentor. That's one of my passions. That's what I'm doing for the past 3 years. I started first just as a mindset coach because I don't know, like a lot of entrepreneurs, or a lot of entrepreneurs that I know at least, I started in a network marketing company. And then things kind of shifted after a year, just shifted. I was like, this is what I want to do. This is actually, this is what I really want to do. I want to help women with their mindset. Especially with women, you know how we're kind of brought up, I don't know, different generations and everything, but we're kind of brought up on listening to a lot of what other people have to say about us, waiting for acceptance, if telling us or something that we're pretty when we don't feel pretty. So the whole time waiting for acceptance. And I found that when I started my business, that was the part that I seen most women struggling with. It's just they needed that constant reassurance. So they were constantly going to meetings and, you know, all that kind of stuff that the company was offering. But they were going to the meeting, and they're like, yeah, we'll do this. And then next day it was the same. They'll go back into their old routine, you know, on the comfort zone and all that stuff. So that's mainly where I started my business. And also, I think this is what I share with you, Ash. I was, just before I started my business, I went on a downfall, pretty bad, harsh, depression, dated a very lovely man that you can call a narcissist.
Very lovely man.
He was very lovely at first, and then I realized the signs were there, but I was just so blinded that I couldn't see them. So it was like the narcissist. I never even encountered one. I think my dad was one of them, but it was still my dad, so I wouldn't see it the same way. And then I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? So so everything was just popping up, you know, bad. I was really in a downfall. It's depression, and that it was combined with a lot of drugs and alcohol and self-abuse, toxic relationship, the whole lot. I remember at that stage, I was in college. I was studying as a mature student, and it was the only thing that was keeping me afloat. The job was keeping me afloat because I needed it, but the job was also the place where I used to go do all that stuff, you know, getting high, getting drunk, all that. So I'm like, okay, that was another thing. I was like, at least college kept me straight. I was like, okay, if I finish this, at least I have something of my own. And I remember that I was with this person for a year and a half, and it was just going worse and worse. And it was there, like the signs were there. I was ready to leave. It's just that fear of leaving. I didn't know what to do. And I remember the day that I graduated from college, the day I handed up my dissertation, that was the day that I was like, okay, fuck you. This is it. I'm done. And it was just that I was still broken. I was still hurt, but it was like part of me. It was like, okay, if I manage to finish this dissertation, you know, after 3 years of college, passing every year, not leaving anything behind. I was like, I can leave him behind. If I can do this for myself, then I can leave him as well. And I remember actually, I think that, sorry, I just get a bit emotional thinking about it. But I think in that moment, I think it was just like a little bit of myself came back. Although, you know, I was suffering from depression and everything, a little bit of myself came back, and just that sense of achievement of being like, okay, if I can go through all this shit, you know, all this abuse, mental and physically and everything, and also self-abuse that I was doing to myself, and I can go through all this and passing this. And I remember my tutor, when I gave the dissertation, when I was like, I was almost there, and she was like, well, I think you should leave it. You should give it, you should do it for August. This, we're talking about May, June. And she was like, you should leave it to August. And I was like, no, I'm not. So I remember I had that thing done in a week, and I was like, boom, done, dusted. And I got a really high grade. So that's that sense of achievement of being like, oh my God, yes, I got this. And it was just mine. It's like one of those little things that it's just like mine. And you can't touch this. I did it all by myself. And on that moment, I was like, okay, this is it. This is it. This is when I walk out of this relationship. I walk out of this life. I walk out of myself as well, that self that I didn't want to be anymore. Who wasn't really me. It's just, it's one of those things, you get lost in life sometimes. You just, all those paths, and you just go to that one because also, again, you want the acceptance. You want to be in the cool gang. You want to, what you want to be liked. You want to be the silly one, or you want to be the cute one, or whatever it is. You want to be accepted again. So at that moment I walked away.
You want to play whatever role is going to get you that love at that moment.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's that, it's like I think for a lot of people who have gone, like who have abused substances like drugs or alcohol, a lot of the times what you're trying to do is escape from a reality. And the thing is like, yeah, you escape for few seconds. But at that moment in my life, I was not escaping. I was just getting deeper and deeper because the feelings were getting stronger. Depression was getting stronger, and nothing was actually getting me out of that. So at that moment I was like, okay, that's it. And I remember, just like now, I'm in the south of Argentina. I'm back home for a couple of months. That was the same thing. I took 6 months off, and I was just like, okay, I'll go home, start fresh. And I remember coming here, and I did all the things that I used to do when I was a kid. I started taking up sports, writing, reading, journaling, all the things that I used to do that I used to love when I was a kid. And I remember one of my friends gave me the book of Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And that actually, for me, and for everyone who's listening or watching, guys, ladies, please, if you never read that book, I highly recommend it. It blew my mind. And it's just one of those books that passes on. And I think I still have it there. I'm like, every time I need it, I go back to it. And ever since this is 6 years ago, actually. I think 6 years ago now, 7 years ago. And ever since, it's just like, okay, it's been on a path of, finding myself again, my authentic self, doing the things that I love, to create boundaries, to know my core values and all the things that make me myself. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing when you decide to stop pleasing everybody else and start being yourself.
Well, and I think that's really what we walk through life doing is looking outside ourselves when really we're supposed to be looking within. I tell people, I said, there's really no big secret other than everything that you are seeking, you already have it. So people are like, what do you mean? Well, yeah, you already have everything. And then hold on. Kelly says, I agree that reassurance, oh my God, I can't talk, was sought in the beginning of my new business and still happens at times. It's something I have to shake off because it should come from within. Radical self-awareness, you guys. She said, Laurette said, I love that book. And Louise Hay's too. I love Louise Hay's too. I actually just got speaking of books, I just got the Untethered Soul today. So I haven't read that book, but I can imagine because I've read like some of Louise Hay's work. She's, oh my God. I can only imagine.
Actually, I spent about 6 months listening to her, like waking up and going to sleep, listening to her meditation, like 40 minutes meditation. Even if I was falling asleep, and even she says it on the meditation, even when you fall asleep, it'll go into your mind, it'll stay there in your sleep and all that. And it's just like for 6 months, it was like, that's how I did. It was like every night and every morning. That's what I heard, and like that's what I was listening to, and I love her though. It's one of those little old ladies that it's just like I just want to hug her, or I wanted to hug her when she was still alive, just like give me more love. I love you.
Oh man. So when you started like shedding this, because this is a journey that I went on myself. So I always like to hear. So what was it like to start shedding all that stuff? Like, what was it like when you started walking down that path and you're like, okay, you know what? I'm giving up those things and I'm not pleasing people anymore.
Well, it's scary as fuck at first. And like, excuse my language, ladies, but it was like,
Yes.
It was scary as fuck because it's a path that you have to go through by yourself. There's no, it's like as much as you might have the support of people, but it's something that you have to go through by yourself because it was that again. It was just like if somebody would help me, I would have like the shudders, and I was like, no, I want to do it my way, and I want to see what I'm like, and I want to see what is really coming out of me, And when I was listening to this meditation that I was telling you, that was 6 months that I spent by myself, because it's also that not only had to shed shedding part of myself meant that, okay, I'll have to shed a lot of people that I don't want to be involved with anymore, that I don't want to have them as friendships, what I thought they were friends, all that part. Also to start surrounding myself around people that were more positive, that they weren't like, oh, look, especially because I lived in Ireland for a long time. So people love to talk about the weather. And I'm like, the weather is always the same. It rains all the freaking time. It doesn't change, But it's just like one of those things. And it's like, oh, let's talk about the weather. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. So for a long time for me, it was like, I kind of, I went on this, okay, I built this walls and I was like, okay, and it was just like, nobody comes in. I don't want to go out either, but it's something that I needed at the moment. At that moment, it's just like I had to, how you say it? It was just like grabbing a canvas, and not painting it again, but just going on top of it, just going on like, okay, what's underneath it? That it's already, like you said, it's like in between us. So just going through that and be like, okay, what's in there? I have to find what's in there again. So that's what it was. And I think, I don't know about you, Ashley, or the ladies are listening. I think it's an ongoing journey that you go through. Like, it's not that, okay, I'll do the meditation, I'll do the exercise, so I'll do this and that and the next. And it's like, okay, I'm healed. Voila. No, it's not. I think as much as, I think it's every day there's a little thing, you just become stronger and stronger, and you deal with it not much easier, but you understand it more. You cope with it better.
Well,
if that makes any sense.
That's why this is so important. This is why I love women like you guys coming on and talking about this aspect, because we see a lot of the highlight reels. We see a lot of what everyone goes through, but we don't see a lot of what are people going through. So we walk through life and it's not knowing our depths. Like, we are walking through life on this autopilot, and we always, and I'm like you, there was one point where I was like, I looked around and it was like the same conversation over and over and over again. I'm going, oh my God, where is a different conversation, right? Where's a different conversation?
Yeah.
But
give me something
I had
else.
to realize is we walk around not knowing our own depths and not knowing what the depths of other people can be, because we don't understand ours. So it's like, how can we dive into the depths or allow other people to dive into the depths if we don't even know our own depths?
But that's what I think, I absolutely agree with you. But I think it's a constant, as you say, that's what we learn as women and as coaches as well. I remember for a long time, I was afraid to show that part, that if I was having a bad day or I was having one of those days that I wasn't feeling inspired, because I thought I had to always show like, oh yeah, I'm doing great. Look at me. I got another client. Oh, I'm hitting this 5K or whatever. And I'm like, no, there's a part of you that sometimes doesn't feel like going live, or some part of you that doesn't feel creative, or part of you that doesn't want to do shit some days, and for a long time as a mindset coach, I was like, well, how am I going to share that part? I was like, how am I going to inspire someone else if I can't even do it for myself? And then you realize that is part of the process, is part of your journey as well, that you have to go through those moments as well to be able to, like, okay, tough shit. Now let's women up and let's keep on going, and then there's the next step and the next step and the next step.
Well, and I think that's how we help people, right? Is because, and Artesia says, hello, just tuning in. Oh, hello.
Aloha.
Artesia is starting to go live too. Like, I always love it when all these women start doing this, and I'm like, look at you up there. But yeah, no, I think what happens is we go through life, and you talked about, oh my God, I just totally tuned out my thought process here. Oh my God. Tell me what you said. I had such a good thought. Oh, okay. You see, authentic real life here. Like I just had a brain fart, you guys. It happens.
It happens.
That's how you become okay. So especially in coaching, you guys. So there's that popular opinion that you should have so much life experience before you can start coaching people, or you should have so many certifications, you guys. I think what makes people an effective coach and an effective mentor is how did you get through it? When you went through the shit, how did you get through it? Because what are we helping people do? We're helping people get through their own shit, right? That's what we're doing. So it's like, what did you, that's how I have to remind myself sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I just don't know if I want to show up. And women come and they tell me like, I don't know. Listen, people want to see that. People want to see you in your shit. I mean, what? Look at what I'm going to use Britney Spears as an example. I don't know if anybody remembers Britney Spears.
Oh my God, I always use her as an example. Love her.
Everybody saw what happened, but guess what they loved next? They loved it when she came out of it and she rose up. And how many women did she inspire? How many women did they go, it's Britney, bitch? Because
and she went mental. Oh gosh, she went mental. I was like, I loved her when she went like that. I was like, you just had a meltdown in public like that. You needed to get it out. I was like, you go, girl.
Every woman around the world is going, yes, girl. Yes.
Yeah.
The moms in the back going, see what y'all do to me? See what you kids do to me? But yeah, no, that's super. That's really important. I can't stress enough that this is what people want, people need to know how to get through that. Like when you were going through your stuff, what was some of the most important things that you took along that helped you push through that? Like do the inner work.
Like doing the inner work that I knew, it was like all that meditation, and I'm like, okay, go back to journaling and going back to, okay, what is it exactly that I'm afraid of? Or what is it exactly that is stopping me? Or, what is the block there? What is it actually mine, or is it someone else that, passed it on to me? And usually, most of the times, it is actually, most of the times, the fears that we have, the doubts we have, they don't come from us. It comes from something, generations and generations and generations of people that were listening more than we are listening to ourselves. So in that moment, it was having, I don't know if you ever, or anybody has proper conversations with oneself, because I tend to do that a lot apart from journaling. I'll stand in front of the mirror and I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? What's the fear? What's the doubt? What's the block? And just have a proper conversation with myself and be like, okay, let's do this anyways. It's just having this thought outside. I'm like, what is the most fear? It's like the fear of failing. And I'm like, well, I haven't failed. I keep on going, and as women, like we're warriors, and like you bring that strength and you bring all that from somewhere. Anytime something happened to you, you fall down, you wake up, you get it back up and you go out there and you just get stronger. You learn more stuff. And that's when I realized that I was coaching. I was like, and things were happening to me because, it's all a process. It's like, you're not only learning about business, you're learning about yourself. And it's like a constant process. And I was like, okay. And every time I fell down, like last year, I took 6 months off because I was burnt. I was completely burned. I was like, I can't deal with this anymore. I was just like, I was so unaligned. Something was not in alignment with my business and with myself. And I was like, I have to take time off. And at first I was petrified. I was like, oh yeah, well, if I disappear for 6 months, and I'm like, after 2 years and I've building my business. And then I was like, well, this is what I need now. And it's going to be fine. I know this is what I want to do and I'll be okay. And I came back and I was like, okay, this is fine. Now I'm back, now everything just feels more flow. It doesn't feel like a hustle. It feels like, okay, this is nice.
Well, and I think that taps into what you say is we as women are programmed to show up and serve what we think is the best for what people have told us. We are told that in order to be successful, we must always be hustling. And if we take time off, it's like work the 20-hour days and give, and just push through it. And instead of asking ourselves, like, does this actually work for me? Because the biggest breakthrough that I gave myself, like you said, like you gave yourself, was giving myself the ability to take a break, to go like, listen, this is not working. Something is not working. And I need to be okay with stepping back and acknowledging that that's where the space is. And I don't think I don't think that we are taught that that is an okay thing, right? We're not taught though. And I hate to say this, but I feel like it's more women than men that aren't taught that, because men are taught like after school, go take some time, find yourself, find what it is that you want to do. Whereas women are told, go out, get the, be a good wife, get married young, secure that, secure the good relationship, have the house, go to school, get the degree, get the job. Those are all those messages. So then we come in.
If we want to be independent and successful, we have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody tells you like, okay, find what actually makes you happy first.
Yeah. Be happy.
It's like, isn't that such a novel concept? I asked a woman one time, I said, what makes you happy? And she goes, she said, I don't know. She said, I don't know what makes me happy. And I'm like, and I ask people that, I challenge them all the time. I said, when was the last time someone asked you, like, what makes you happy in life? What makes you happy?
It's sad, isn't it?
And Lorette says, have those babies and many. Yeah.
And many more, yeah. That's it.
Pop out lots of babies. So when you started going through this work, and I want to ask you, because that's intriguing to me. So when you were going through this 6-month journey and you took this step back, what was that like for you in coming back into business? Because I know there are a lot of women who have left and taken breaks, and they're coming back into their businesses. They're like, how am I going to do this again?
Oh, actually, I feel completely refreshed, renewed, focused. Like it's just a fresh breath air. Like it's, as you said earlier, it's just like knowing the things that don't work, because I was doing exactly that. It was just like hustling, this, that, being in all the platforms, do this, do the podcast, do the magazine, all this tons of stuff. Okay, you probably should write a book soon, because if not, if you don't get a bestseller soon, you're gonna be fucked. You know what I mean? And it was like nonstop. And I just got so confused with myself. I was like, okay, who is my ideal client now? I have no idea whatsoever, because I was doing so many different things. And I was just like, I remember my best friend grabbing me and shaking me. And it was like at the middle of the summer. And she was like, you have to stop. You're driving yourself mad. You know what I mean? She was like, you're sitting there all day, because I was working 8 hours, 5 days a week. And she was like, you need to stop. And I was like, okay, I'll take a month off. And then the month went into 6 months. And I was like, okay, that's okay. Then actually, I always knew this is what I wanted to do. So that was always there. So in the moment that I was like, okay, I want to become a coach, that was there. I was like, okay, the passion is there. The helping people is there. I had to be more specific with myself. And also that realizing that the things that I was doing weren't working, because I was confusing myself, and I was confusing the different audiences that I wanted to reach out to. And I'm like, okay, you need to stick to one thing first. So now it's just like, okay, this is good. I was like, at the moment, because I'm in the south of Argentina, my Wi-Fi doesn't work all the time. So I was like, when I was telling you, I was like, hopefully it works when I get with you. But that's what happens. I don't feel like, okay, when I'm able to, I'm online. If I'm not, and I still want to work, I do it offline. I do a little videos, I record little videos, then I post them when I have the Wi-Fi again and stuff like that. But I get to, just be around, more present on the other things. I don't feel like I started a business because I wanted the freedom. And at one point I didn't have that anymore, if that makes sense. It was just the constant hustling. And I was like, I don't want to hustle. I was like, this is flowing. It's just, I don't want to. And the first thought that came to my head, I was like, I do not want to pass on this to one of my clients, because I was stressed. I was freaking stressed. And coming back, it just feels like it's just like, okay, my God, this is so nice. I know this is what I want to do. I love it. Yeah. Let's leave the stuff that didn't work. Let's leave them behind and let's start fresh. It's just like starting, knowing what I knew. It's just like, that person that is like, let's say they became really successful, and then they lost all their money. And then because they knew all this stuff, they knew how to do it again. So they're like, okay, I'll do it again. You know what I mean? So it kind of felt like, I don't know how that, because I never lost that much money, but I was like, it kind of felt like that. I'm like, okay, I'll do it again. And I'll do the stuff that, all the little things that weren't aligned with me, all the things that I've learned that were making me feel happy about my business, then I leave all those ones, I'm going to push those ones away and I'll start doing it another way, in the way that it feels nice to me.
And I like you talk the way that it feels good for me, because that's something, hold on. I can't say, Hi,
Gaytree.
Gaytree, okay.
Gaytree.
I want to start pronouncing people's names right, because I just I don't want to go through a whole
it's hard sometimes.
They're like,
thank you.
She kept pronouncing my name wrong the whole time.
Thank you, Gaytree.
Should speak for women and men should speak for men. I don't know. You know what? I can't speak for men. I had this conversation actually with a woman I did a strategy session with today, and she talks to men. She wants to help men learn to combine the masculine and the feminine together. And she wants men to understand why that is actually the best way to operate. And she's talking about feelings and getting men to feel emotion. And I'm like, I don't think you want to put that in your copy. This men don't, it's not that men don't feel emotion, I said, but men operate from a very simplistic way of doing. And they also want their ego petted. I don't mean this in a bad way. If a man catches, I'm not saying this a bad way. Just, I said, talk to them about how you're going to help them become more powerful and stuff. And I was like, so, I think it's not that we get offended. It's that we speak differently. We speak different languages. Men, and I've had the privilege to work with a ton of men. Men are blunt to the point. They don't sugarcoat anything. And it's not that they're trying to hurt your emotions. It's that they're not emotionally invested in what they're saying. And I'm not saying that's all men, but the large majority men are they're going to say what they're thinking. It's not that they're invested in that. It's just that's what they're thinking. And they don't have a problem with saying that. Women, on the other hand, we kind of like to be sugar-coated. We don't necessarily want it blunt and right there in our face, because sometimes that tends to be a defense thing. But, and I told her, I said, it's just, you have to learn to speak their language. You cannot be a woman trying to speak female to a man, if that makes sense, you guys. You can't be a woman speaking female to a man.
I completely agree with you, Ashley, but I don't think we should anyways. I mean, a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And I think, okay, we all have both sides. And I think sometimes in business, we tend to bring more the masculine side. And that's when we start hustling and we start freaking stressing ourselves like I did. I start constantly do all my ego. Oh my God, people are not liking my post. Oh my God, only 2 people listen to my podcast, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm actually saying what I want to say. I'm actually speaking from my heart. So I was like, I'm going to reach out to whoever wants to listen, but it's I think it's balancing the both. But yeah, I don't know. I'll probably agree with you that men work in a very, very different way when it comes to emotionally.
Gaytree says we have to be careful not to try to demonize. And you're correct. You're right. And I hope that didn't come across that way, because I firmly believe men are fantastic. And I think men, and like you said, we shouldn't speak that way anyways. Men have their strengths and women have their strengths. And I think what's important is, and what you're talking about, your journey, is recognizing what's truth and what's an actual strength for us.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll get off the topic of men, because I love men as well, though. So.
Oh my God. Okay, I promise I'm not trying to hurt nobody's feelings. But so
We're not.
We'll keep moving forward. Thank you, Gaytree. I promise I'm not trying to demonize men. I do like men. I have to say that I am thankful for their communication style, because sometimes it is more effective to just be blunt and to the point. Not blunt in a mean way, but this is it. This is what I want. Yeah. Just get it right out there. Don't sugarcoat it. But anyway, so moving forward along your journey, when did you really start seeing that pivot into where you're at now? When did that pivot start coming in and you're like, you know what? Okay, this feels good. And this feels like my truth. And this feels like where I'm going towards.
Honestly with you, now, actually, after 2 years, after 2 years, I think a friend of mine actually, she did a tarot reading on me last week, which I didn't even ask. She was just like, okay, I'm just going to see where you at. And she was like, She was like, last year, it was the year for you to let go of a lot of things that weren't serving you anymore, mindset wise, beliefs and all that stuff, and the way you were working as well. And she was like, you're just approaching, I know it's like, yes, a new decade is a new year, but she was like, you're just approaching, it's like being reborn again. You know, it's just like this part that I'm like, okay, now I feel more at ease. I feel more confident, secure, you know, that I'm not afraid of being who I am. Just funny because I had this conversation with my mom today. She doesn't like the way I laugh. And I can be a bit loud. Yeah, I can be a bit very, very loud sometimes when I laugh. And I was like, well, that's how I am. And I was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you don't like it, but that's your problem. It's not mine. I was like, I can't, it's part of me that is just ingrained. I was like, I can't really change it. I'll try to be a little less loud when I'm around you, but I was like, I can't promise anything. It's just the way it is. So she was like, okay, I'll accept it. And I was like, well, that's the only way around it. I was like, I can't, you know, I was like, I told her, I was like, I spend my whole time pleasing other people. And I was like, I'm done in this. And I think knowing that and letting it go and not coming from a place of ego, absolutely not from ego, actually, but from a place of feeling more confident, you know, just being like, okay, yeah, I have my flaws. I told a friend the other day, I was like, I am perfect, but in my own perfect way. You know, with all my imperfections, I think I'm perfect for me, you know, but I know what, you know, I know what I'm not good at. I know what I can better, you know, what the things I can better about myself, about the things that I do and everything. But it's just being aware, you know, and I think now it's that weight off my shoulder being like, okay, I don't need acceptance anymore, you know? And I know somebody else mentioned something about the post sometimes. And yeah, sometimes you post something, you probably sat there and you're like, with all this inspiration, there's only one people who liked it. And you're like, okay. And before it used to bother me. Now I'm like, I really don't mind. You know, it's just like, this is what I wanted to share. And this is what I want to share today. And that's that very much.
I like that you talk about that because I think especially in this day and age, it's really easy to get caught up in that hype. Like you see all these people, they're like, overnight successes. And I did I've seen it like 30K in 30 days. And it's really easy to get into the comparison game and lose the fact that this is something that you, especially in entrepreneurship, this is something that you want to be doing for the rest of your life. Like we're doing this for the rest of our life. And the business is going to go through stuff. And it's really easy, especially for women, to get caught up in the whole, I'm not at her level right now, then I'm not successful, right? And Gaytree says we love our parents, but it's great to be ourselves and not feel less of a person for not being how they think we should be. And I agree with that. The one thing that helped me work through a lot of my own stuff, and I don't know about you, but was acknowledging that my parents were doing the best they could with what they knew and what they grew up with. Like you said, like we take on stuff that's not even ours. Like I remember learning about epigenetics and going, oh my God, that's crazy. Like you can actually take on your grandmother's stuff.
Don't teach me. What is it? I don't know.
Oh, really? Like epigenetics?
Is this a fancy word of like things that you bring from your ancestors?
Yeah, well, actually, no. So epigenetics is like a science. So there's these things called epigenomes. And you guys, I'm not an expert on this, but I was really addicted to it for a short period of time. And I still love it, just haven't done. So what happens is these epigenomes don't change the way the gene is structured. They change the way that your gene acts out, essentially. So what literally, they did this on studies of lab mice, but the biggest study they did was of the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors. So maybe I'll remember this.
Oh.
So what they showed is that the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors were actually already born with fears towards lights, loud sounds, things that they should not have fears and like they shouldn't be doing because they've never been that's never been put in, they've never gone through that. But because their grandparents went through this, it altered their genetics, and these epigenomes were brought up, passed down onto the children and the grandchildren's genes. So the way that the genes acted out was different than the way that they would have acted had they not had these epigenomes. So basically it's like the science behind how we carry thoughts, beliefs, and reactions to the world that aren't actually ours. So that's why I love that you talk about how important it is to really go deep and figure out what is our truth. Because especially as women, this was something that was huge, and I learned this too, is when we have partners in life, and I'm talking about of the sexual kind, you know, the relationship kind, when we have partners and we take these people into our womb, in a sense, I'm gonna get here, we can actually take in other we take in other people's energy. And so, and I say this is the best example I can give. Have you ever been with a guy or a woman and you guys, you know, you come together and you end it, and all of a sudden, like, the other person rolls over and they're happy and they're good and they're like, oh yeah, I'm living life. And you're all of a sudden, you're sitting over there going and your mind's racing. You're like, why do I feel like this? You're like, I don't understand. It's because you literally took somebody else's shit into you. Like, literally. I'm sorry. No,
that is so true.
I've had to have many conversations with some friends about being picky about who they get with. That's why that came up. Like, that came up.
That is so true, though. You see, I told you I have a loud laugh.
Like, no, I love it.
I can think of so many times that has happened to me. But yeah, no, it's really interesting how you actually get all that energy from other people, though.
So I have to ask, once you started moving down your path, because this is always like one of my favorite things, is like when you go through all this stuff and you go through it and then you come out to the other side, how did your business start looking when you really dove into who you were and what your truth was within your business?
It took a complete turn, like a complete turn. Even I always loved networking. But when my coaches was like, well, you have to follow up. And I felt like I was hustling as well. I felt I was like harassing the other person. I'm like, and now it's like, no, I'm not. I'm actually following up. This person actually reached out to me. You know, I'm actually helping them in something that they need help with. And I can actually help them solve it. I was like, I changed the word selling to actually teaching, because I'm actually giving them something that they need as well. And it has changed completely. It doesn't feel like, you know, I was being the salesman anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know,
and I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. I was gonna say, I like that you talk about that.
No, you know, actually, because I think for a lot of people, like, we know what we're doing, but when it comes to selling or offering our things, it's just like there's a big block there, and you're like, well, this is why we started a business, right? Because it was something my coach said. She was like, well, are you running a hobby? Are you running a business? And I'm like, well, yeah. I was like, I had to take up more. I remember like the first year I had to take up more hours of work when I was like the opposite. I was trying to quit my job, you know what I mean, to run my business. And I had to take more hours because I was so afraid of selling. I'm like, well, and I was giving free coaching left and right. And I'm like, what am I doing? I was like, I'm actually sitting here for, you know, all this time. And I was like, I'm giving free coaching. And I was like, well, I kind of, you know, that mindset has to stop. It's just like, yeah, okay. If we're running a business, we have to run a business, you know? And it feels more, like I said earlier, it's like, it feels more at ease and just feels like, you know, it's more aligned. It just isn't, it's like, okay, I'm just having a conversation with someone, you know? It's just like, so before it was like, oh, one moment I send them the pitch, or one moment do I sell them, or one moment, and I'm like, no, I'm like, okay, it'll come in the conversation, you know, if needed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like it. Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that we've been, you know, they don't talk enough about. Is like figuring out what is your style with that too, because not everybody sells the same way. You know, not everybody does everything. And you're right. Yeah, we have to ask for the sale. Otherwise, we're just, you know, we're helping people out. Like, and that's nice. I mean, I'm not against helping people out. Like, listen, I'm not. But if you're helping all these people out, how are you being serviced as well? Oh.
But yeah, I'm here. But that's what we're doing. I mean, it's like the doctor. You go to a doctor, you have to pay a doctor. You know, it's the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm giving you something that you actually need. And that's when I changed that. That, don't get me wrong, that has been told to me since the moment I started, but I just couldn't go around it. And I'm like, okay, but I'm still have to ask for the sale, you know? And now it's just like, well, no, it's, you know, I'll go buy a pair of shoes that I want or I need. And I was like, I have to pay them. You know, it's just the same thing. You're giving me something I need. And it's just an exchange. And, you know, money is the energy, and it's that. If you see there's a good energy with that person that you work in, then the other person shouldn't have a problem paying you for your services.
Amen. Amen.
Exactly. I mean, I'm sure you don't know about you, Ashley, but I made fucking shitty investments. Like, I made one last year that I was just like, oh my God, what did I do? You know? But it was also that I got into, honest with you, this is how I got into working with that coach, because I seen all the flashy things. I went to the comparison. I'm like, oh, look at another flashy. Oh, look at that post. She's helping this client make this money and this money, this money. You know, and then I was like, okay, maybe I sign up with her. And then I signed up with her. I did not have, my calls were only audio. And I'm the type of person, if I'm going to work with somebody, I have to see their face. You know, I want to see their emotions. I want to see if they're telling me the truth. I want to see how they actually feel. That sometimes you won't get it through a voice. And that investment just didn't work, you know, but I still gave him money and the energy wasn't there. And I was like, why did I do this? Because I went and looked at all the flashy stuff, you know.
But comparison, well, you know what? That was a realization that was huge for me, is realizing that I was basing investment decisions on what kind of financial gain that I thought that person could give me. Or maybe they have a strategy that I don't know yet. Or maybe it goes back to that whole, well, you have to know yourself first to know what's actually going to resonate with you and where. And it's, if you don't know yourself, you're going to go ahead and fall for the flashy stuff. And you're going to fall for thinking that the things that you need, somebody else has, instead of going, listen, I have what I need. I just need you to help me refine it. Like, I have what I need. Yeah. Just help me make it better, you know?
Yeah. But that's what it is. It really is. Like, in the coach that I'm working now, she was like, you know all this stuff. She was like, why you need me? And I was like, I just need you to kick my ass. So I was like, that's the only part I need you in. But it is like, she keeps sending me messages. She was like, what you need today? I was like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I got this. I was like, I know 90% of the work is for me. You just give me the strategies and I'm there. And I was like, I just got to believe that they work. And that's where I think a lot of us, that's where it lacks at the beginning. You know, start believing in yourself and believing that what you're doing is actually valuable. And once you shift that, it just opens up. Like, you know, how was it for you, Ashley? How long you've been doing this for a while?
I've actually been in business now a year. My year mark was I think a year. And hold on, Gage said I spent so much money in courses and stuff just because I never felt that I was enough. Yes, exactly. Like, I really think that's what it is. We think that we're lacking something, that we don't have what it takes to be on the level that we want to be on. So we're like, I'm just going to keep. And that's just a distraction thing for us, a distraction to keep us from actually doing the things that we're supposed to be doing. Like, I've gotten caught up in that, like, oh, I'm so busy because I have to do all this stuff. And then what don't you do? You don't do the actual stuff that counts in your business. You don't make calls, you don't connect with people. You don't do any of it. So, but yeah, I've been in business for a year now, and the sales part was hard for me. Like, I did not want to ask people for sales. I felt so awful. I was like, oh my God, I'm asking people for all this money. And I had to remind myself, but like, look what you're giving them. Like, look how much help you're giving them. And even now it's better, but I still have the struggles. You know, it's still like reminding myself, like, you know, just go out there and ask them for the sale. Like, what's the worst thing they're going to do? No. And then you've lost some time.
Yeah, it's going to be another person. But that's the thing. And I was like, you know, when I did that bad investment last year, I was like, oh my God, if this lady, because she's actually making money, and I was like, oh my God, I was like, why? What is stopping me? I'm like, I got all this knowledge, you know, and it was just like, you know, but it was that going into like, what am I doing wrong? And I was like, and trying to look for help from someone that it was all the flashy stuff. And then I was like, okay. And that's when I think that's the moment that I decided, I was like, okay, I'm taking time off as well. Apart from my friend shaking me, I think on that moment it was also like, okay, I need to, you know, get out of this flashy stuff and comparing and seeing if I'm doing something wrong, because I'm not doing anything wrong. I have to work on myself a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. So now tell everybody, you talked a little bit about business and mentoring. What does that business look like now as it's pivoted? What is where you're at now?
Now I'm at that I don't know if women out there, because we multitasker, there's a lot of things that we're like, okay, well, I'm multi-passionate and I want to do so many different things. We were talking about men before and I was like, I want to help men at some stage in my life. But now I decided, okay, this is what I'm really, really passionate. This is where my business is going now. And that's because I know what the struggle is when you're first starting. And because I've done pretty much every mistake that is out there in the book, not mistake, lesson. I learn from doing. And I think that's the only way we learn. We can sit there and sign up to every free that's out there. We can read every book. We can, listen to every TED talk and podcast and everything. But if we don't take action, then we will never know. And as I said, actually, because I know I've done I'm one of those people that I just go and do it, and then I think about stuff. Like, I'm just gonna do it, and then I'm like, oh, okay. But that's how I learned on my business, apart from coaches that I work with. And that's where my business is at now, that I'm like, okay, this is where I'm taking it, and this is where I'm going to help those new entrepreneurs, because I know what the struggle is. I know the mindset struggle that it is at the beginning as well. Because one of the first coaches that I worked with, she only worked with the business strategy. She didn't give me the mindset tools. And I was like, okay. So I think that's very, very important. And that's where I help the new entrepreneurs that want to really uncover those super skills and the superpowers they have, and really develop them and create soul-based businesses. I think that's where it's about. Like, create that business that you like, you don't feel like you're hustling. You're like, okay, this is beautiful. I love what I do with passion, and that's where I'm at now. This is from, networking, reaching out to people.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's awesome, man. I love that. I think the thing that I love the most, and you're definitely in that, is that there's so many more of us that are coming up to help the collective as a whole. Like, it's not, I'm coming into business because I want to make money. And I mean, I think all of us want to make money because we want freedom. We want to be able to control our lives. But there's so many of us coming into the space and like, I just really want to help people. I want to help people not make the same mistakes that I made, because, like I always think, man, if there had just been a woman who could have just shown me how to do it right from the beginning, like I would have thrown any amount of money at her. And I love that you talk about the needing of the mindset and the business, because that was the one thing I always missed. It's always either got like the mindset and a little bit of business, or I got all business and no mindset. And it was like,
no mindset.
I need both. Like, even when I coach now, that's what I do. It's not, because I always tell people, especially like with the lives, I can give you all the strategy in the world. I can give you the exact strategy that could catapult you into like thousands of followers, yada, yada, yada. I said, but if your mindset doesn't support it, then you're not going to do anything. Then it's just a strategy sitting there doing nothing for you. Like, it does nothing. It gives you nothing. And so I love that. Actually, what I'm seeing is more people understanding that it's a mixture. You need the both, and you need both. And, so that's a beautiful, beautiful space. So I'm always appreciative of hearing these stories, because like, oh, look, somebody else doing good stuff.
Yeah. He said it's more of us doing more of this stuff, and it's great. It's just, some people say, oh yeah, the coaching business is saturated, or this is saturated, and it's not everybody's going to be your cup of tea. You know what I mean? There's someone for someone. I always say that, and there's so many people out there.
I think they say 10% of the population actually believes in like investing in coaches. So the industry might be saturated, but there's still like 90% of the worldwide community that's not getting coaching yet. So understand that it's saturated because not because everybody has not awoken to the value that comes from having a coach. Like, if I could have one coach that could entail all pieces of my life, like health, nutrition, mindset, business, I would be great. But hey, if a coach ever comes along, they're like, listen, I can just make your whole life good. All of it. I will pay you any amount of money. Like, yes, here you go. But no, I think it's beautiful that there are a lot more coaches that are like, listen, we need the both and. We gotta have as many aspects covered as possible. So I think that's truly powerful what you're doing. So now that we're coming towards the end of it, which is crazy, I can't believe it. It always passes by. If someone, yeah,
talking to you all night.
I know. I told you, like, when I read your story, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be great. I said, there's so many but if someone were to come to you, so I always like this because everybody's answers are always different. So if somebody was to come to you and say, listen, what are 3 pieces of advice you can give me to get me through this journey that I'm going on? If it was really similar, what are the 3 pieces of advice looking back on your journey that you would give someone?
First of all, don't be harsh on yourself and understand that everything that you're going through is meant to happen. I'm a strong believer that nothing is a coincidence, nothing. And sometimes, you know, those days that you feel like you passed something shitty and then something else comes, is because the universe knows that you can handle it and you can keep on going. So just don't be hard on yourself and just take things, you know, I know sometimes things can seem so hard, but try to look at things a different perspective. You know, don't try to go into that, you know, pity party or, you know, thinking that things are so bad that it'll never come out of that, because there's always a solution, always a solution. Mm-hmm. And for that, we have to take action, whatever it is. Yeah. Sitting there and soaking. I'm just like, look, I'm up for crying when you need to cry, but sometimes when you need to, you know, suck it up and just do it, just go and do it. Don't stay on that comfort zone, lovey. Comfort zone will never bring you anywhere. You know, just try to make your uncomfortable zone the comfortable one, that you're always up for a challenge, always trying to live life. They say that we only have one life, and I don't believe it. I think we have 1,000. You know, there's always a new day. There's a new chance to start over. There's a new chance to do something different. I don't know. We live in an era that everything is accessible as well, except for my Wi-Fi sometimes. You know, things are so accessible. They're out there. Knowledge, you know, help is out there, accessible. Everything we need to learn, it's there. So just, you know, nourish your life, nourish yourself, do something different every day, or do something different every week. I don't know, something that it sparks your soul. You know, something that is gonna make you become more you, make you happy.
Mm-hmm. That was some piece of advice that a mindset coach gave me the other day. She said, man, do something that makes you happy today. Like, don't focus on all the other stuff. She said, if you aren't giving yourself joy every single day, she said, if you don't do what thing that brings you joy every day, she said, you're going to burn out and you're going to hate everything. She said, and you're not going to like your life. She said, you have to find joy every single day. So that's,
it's simple things though. Actually, no, it's simple things. I don't know. I just, you know, go for a walk, go watch the sunset, be present. I think to be able to enjoy things, being present in the moment. And I share this because I remember I've been here since January, and when I got here, this is the south of Argentina. Actually, this is like your country, right? And coming from the city, coming from Dublin, I had my routine and everything. It took me a week or two to like, okay, slow down. You know, just be here in the moment. I'm like, you wake up every day to the sun. You know, you wake up every day to flowers, to fresh air, to all these little things, and I'm like. And those are things that, you know, they're so precious. They're there. They're so accessible, you know, and they're right in front of my face. And I was like, okay, so just be, know that joy is in every little thing that is around you. Just got to be present and, you know, be aware that it's there instead of always trying to look for the next thing.
Amen. Oh, I love it.
Hey. There we go. Oh, this was helpful, lovies. Yeah.
It really was. All right. So this is the part of the show where you tell everybody where they can find you, although you are tagged in this. So, you know, your personal is tagged in this, but where they can find you, how they can interact with you, and what is the best way to connect with you or work with you.
Lovies. Well, you can find me. I hang out a lot on Facebook and Instagram. A little bit on LinkedIn. If you're more business oriented, I'm more on LinkedIn as well. Jeez, look, I'm kind of all the platforms. Yeah, I love writing blogs as well. So I'm in Pinterest, but everything is under my name. It's under Maria Krause. And I also have a podcast. I have two podcasts. One is called Change, and the other one is the Rising Soulpreneur. So on Change Your Inner Strength, Ashley, that I'm going to invite you to come on. That's where I have guests like yourself, where they share their story and their tips and advice for entrepreneurs. And then the Rising Soulpreneur is just a solo podcast that I do by myself, where I share all my mistakes, all my mess ups, and all my own tips and advice for new entrepreneurs. Ash, did I miss anything? Yeah, well, what did I say when I started doing everything because I thought I had to do everything. But now I kind of kept it because I love it. I also have an online magazine by the name of Unchain Your Inner Strength. And love is for anybody who's listening. I'm always looking for contributors. I love collaborating. And I love networking with like-minded people. And also, as I said, see how we get on and see if we can work together, do something together. I think it's all in the energy and, have a little chat. I always offer a free coaching session, a call. That is something that I kept from my old days. And I was like, I like that, just to see how we get on and have a little chat. And if you want to work with me, I can show you where I can help you with, which is mostly, like I said, it's for new entrepreneurs, just to build the foundation as well, build that foundation that you need in mindset and in business.
Amen. That's awesome. I love it. I do a free one too, and I just think there's power in giving someone value enough to get them moving in life, and I always feel like that somehow that comes back to you in some way, shape, or form. So I think that's
Absolutely.
Great. I think you guys need to connect. Obviously, connect. And before we get off here, as always, you guys know every Tuesday and Thursday, so we'll have another amazing woman. But I am opening the show to all women who are ready to share their story about what they've gone through in life, whatever story that looks like. Like, I don't want you guys to think that it always has to be business. I really, really, really want to showcase women's stories, and I want us to have conversations and create dialogue and really talk about where we've been and where we're going and where we're at, because I think that's how we're going to move things forward. I think that's how we're going to create change in the world, is by recognizing that we are all one essentially at the beginning, and we all start from somewhere, and that we are all going somewhere. So you guys, any woman who's ready to share her story, please click the link in the bio, come on the show. And as always, I give, I used to call them live strategies, but someone's like, I love that you talk about rock your life. Oh, the woman I did, she's like, it's like you're saying rock my life. So you guys, I do free coaching strategy calls. It's one-time call, and it's just to get you a little clarity and move you forward in whatever you're struggling with. I always say it's like, what's that one big thing you're dealing with, and let's tackle that. And then I'm kind of like you, Marie, and it's like, if you like what happens and you want to continue moving forward, then I can tell you how that works too.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's interested in that, that link is in the bio as well. Click that. That's 30 minutes. We have a lot of fun. I love doing them. Like, I really do. It makes me excited to see people get excited about their business or their life again. They're like, oh my God, this is what I needed. And I'm like, see, there you go. Yay for clarity. So, all right, you guys, as always, Thursday, thank you guys for being here. We'll see you guys 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another amazing episode. All right.
Awesome. So, thank you so much, gorgeous.
Yes, thank you for being on. Thank you so much. And everybody who catches on the replay, #replay, make sure you guys like, comment, share this show, get this out there so we can keep pushing it. And just before we go, you guys, just because you really, like you said, Maria, you have to go out there and put action. I submitted the show to the Oprah Winfrey Network again. So I'm going to keep submitting the show because I really want to do. So you guys, don't ever think that nothing is possible. I don't care how many times I have to submit this show. Oprah's going to see it and love it. You guys, trust in what you have. Trust in what you bring to the table. And trust that if you are doing it for the sake of moving things forward and really creating change in the world, that it's going to manifest in the best way possible. So that's exciting because I always like, man, when we get up there, when this show blows up, all you women are going to be the founders of this. Like, you're gonna go, look, I was in the founding show.
Love it. I love
It's gonna be great, you guys. So, all right, you guys, click those links. Let's meet. Let's connect. Everybody connect with Maria, and you guys. I will see you guys Thursday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.